All right, pre-cal, we are going to continue talking about division for polynomials. In this video, we're going to talk about long division. So I'm just going to refresh your memory and look at a simple example of little kid division. Okay, say I've got 468 divided by 4. Well, you ask yourself a question, 4 times what gives you 4? Well, that'd be a 1. And then, of course, you multiply it, and you put it down here, and then you do what? You subtract it, right? So 4 minus 4 is 0, and then you bring down a 6. And then 4 times what gives you 6? Well, not quite 6, but I know that a 1 will work. So 1 times 4 is 4. I subtract that, I get a 2, I bring down the 8. Because remember, your goal is to find a value that, even if it doesn't go evenly into it, won't exceed it. So 4 goes into 28 how many times? 7. That's a perfect match. Life is good. We don't have a remainder. So division of polynomials, long division of polynomials is going to work very similarly to this. It's just now we're going to have variables. All right, so let's skip down here to example 4. And let's just go ahead and look at what this will look like. Unlike synthetic division, long division retains all of your variables, okay? So we are going to write this exactly like it looks in just a long division form. Okay, and just like in synthetic division, you do have to look for anything that is not present, anything that gets skipped in this right here. So we've got cubed, squared, 1, none, so we're good to go there. All right, so you need to ask yourself, you're just looking at one term at a time here. So I'm just going to look at this x right here. I am going to ask myself, what do I need to multiply that by in order to get 6x cubed? Well, x times 6x squared will give me that. So I am going to write 6x squared, and then I'm going to multiply that by x, so that gives me 6x cubed, which is perfect, but I also have to multiply it by the negative 2. So negative 2 times 6x squared is negative 12x squared. All right, this is the part that gets a little tricky because just like in the long division problem I just showed you, we've got to subtract this from everything. Well, it works nicely with this first term, but we also have to do it right here. So since negative 12 is negative, that means we're going to change the sign to addition because that negative gets distributed to each of the terms. That is the most important thing in long division. All right, this term 6x cubed minus 6x cubed is 0. That should happen every time. If that doesn't happen every time, if you don't get rid of that first term, you have done something wrong. All right, now I've got negative 19x squared plus 12x squared. So that's negative 7x squared, and just like in long division, like I just showed you, we bring down the 16x. All right, now you start the process over again, and you ask yourself this question. You say, okay, so my first term x and my first term down here, 7x or negative 7x squared, what can I multiply x by to get that? Well, it needs to be a negative, it needs to have a 7, and it needs to have another x. So I've got negative x times x, which is negative 7x squared. But remember, I also have to multiply by this negative 2. So negative 7 times negative 2 is positive 14, and don't forget the x. All right, now I've got to subtract this whole thing. That means that this 7 becomes a positive and this 14 becomes a negative. These add to 0. 16x minus 14x gives me 2x, and then I bring down the negative 4, and I start the process all over again. So I asked myself this question. X times what gives me 2x? Well, that'd be a positive 2. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. I subtract the whole thing, so both my signs change. This adds to 0, and incidentally, so does this. So my answer to this question, right here, 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. All right, now we're going to switch to number 5. We're going to do it the same exact way. 3x plus 1. I'm dividing 6x squared minus x minus 7 by 3x plus 1. So when I do this, I am going to again start with my first terms, 3x and 6x squared. 3x times what will give me 6x squared? 2x. So 2 times 3 is 6. X times x is x squared. Remember, we're subtracting. Okay? And don't forget to multiply this 2x by the 1. So you're going to have 2x. So if you've got 2 terms over here, you're always going to multiply it and get 2 terms down here as well. All right, so subtraction here. This becomes subtraction. So these add to 0, negative x and negative 2x, negative 3x. Bring down the negative 7. Ask yourself the question, 3x times what will give me negative 3x? That would be a negative 1. So negative 1 times 3x, negative 1 times 1. My signs change. Just in these 2 terms, though. These signs don't, these right here don't change. Okay, so negative 3x and x, add to 3x, add to 0, negative 7 and 1, negative 6. So for this problem, I do have a remainder, so I'm going to write this right here. Beautiful. All right, last one. Then I'll quit torturing you for now. Okay, notice that this term right here, we've got x cubed, but there's no x squared and there's no x. That means we have to put space in for those. So here's what this is going to look like. 0x squared plus 0x minus 1. I know the x's look funny with zeros in front of them, but trust me, this is how you do the problem. All right, so I'm going to start again. X times what gives me x cubed? That's going to be x squared. I multiply x squared and x. I multiply x squared and negative 1. Remember, my signs change. This becomes negative. This becomes positive. These add to 0. 0x squared plus x squared is just x squared because 0 plus 1 is 1. Then I bring down the 0x. X times what gives me x squared? That would be a positive x. So x squared, x times negative 1, negative x. My signs change, negative, positive. 0 plus 1 again is just 1x. I bring down the negative 1. X times what gives me x? That would be 1. 1 times x is x. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. My signs change. Those add to 0. That means I don't have a remainder. And there you go. Just like that. That's how you do long division of a polynomial.